Tailor-made solutions for your business. How are you today? It's Monday morning, well, in this part of the world anyway, and I'm here to bring you some English. Today we're going to be looking at all different aspects of English, phrasal verbs, idioms, buzzwords in the office that people find particularly annoying, but maybe you use all the same. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to go over here now. We've got our main page here, but I'm going to jump into this corporate word list. No, this is what I wanted. Yes. So it was talking about, I was looking at this earlier, and it's ranked the worst business buzzwords and corporate jargon. Okay, is this something that you like to use in the office? How often do you hear it? Well, in the English world, certainly I'm sure in your world as well, it's very, very common. And I'd also like to know, how often do you guys use English buzzwords in your own language? So for perhaps you're speaking Spanish or French, and then all of a sudden you have a popular word in English. So let me know. You can let me know in the comments. I'm going to come down here now and we're going to read a little bit about this. It's from Preply. This is the website that I got this from. Has your boss or colleague ever used an acronym you were confused by, or jargon, which is kind of a special language in a special situation, jargon that made you cringe? Cringe is when, let me explain the word cringe, because I have a lot of students who don't understand this word. When you cringe, it's when you feel real embarrassment, but you show it physically. So embarrassment maybe for someone else. So let's say, for example, you are at a meal and you have an uncle, let's say, and he tells a very racist joke or a sexist joke, or just it's a joke that makes you feel embarrassed. You want to just go, this is cringe. Okay, and sometimes we have this you'll have this obviously in your office where somebody will be using a lot of business jargon that makes you cringe. So business English can feel like a language in itself, but just because you understand it, it doesn't mean you have to like it. In fact, more than 1 in 5 people dislike business buzzwords. Buzzwords are the words, let's get rid of this down here. Buzzwords are these trendy words. According to our recent survey about business buzzwords and corporate jargon, we polled or surveyed 1,551 respondents to determine which words and phrases employees love and loathe. Loathe means to hate. I'm going to highlight it here for you guys. If I can bring this across. Yes, I can't find the mouse. There we go. Loathe. Loathe means to hate. Here's what we found. Key takeaways. So takeaways are what you learn from something. More than 3 in 4 respondents say that using corporate jargon makes someone sound more professional. Okay, do you agree? Do you think that using corporate buzzwords or business jargon makes you seem more professional? And 71% have used it for this reason. Next is win-win was ranked the most popular buzzword, while new normal was crowned the most hated. A majority, 70%, say that the use of trendy language in a job posting has influenced their decision to apply, and it has caused 1 in 5 to decide against doing so. Using business buzzwords and corporate jargon in the office. Those responding to our survey told us that corporate jargon is incredibly common in the office. In fact, 2 in 5 people say they hear it once a day, and 7 in 10 said they use it. So a lot of people here are using business jargon, and it is very popular in the office. People who use it more tend to be men. 76% of men will use it against 66% of women. And millennials are the most likely people to use it, counting 74%, while boomers are least likely. Do you know what millennials are? Do you know what boomers are? It's the generations. So millennials being born just around the year 2000, while boomers were born just after the children of the Second World War generation. However, Why do they use it? More than 3/4 of those surveyed, or 76%, said it makes people sound more professional. 71 said they use it for themselves for precisely this reason. So people want to sound more professional using buzzwords, business buzzwords. So whether you like it or you don't like it, buzzwords are seen as making you appear more professional. Most likely people to use buzzwords or jargon were listed as colleagues, just general people in the office, 34%, and upper management at 31%. Okay. So how do Americans feel about business buzzwords? 7 and 10 use business buzzwords and jargon. 3 and 4 saying buzzwords makes you look more professional. This is in the United States. So here we have a chart, and it shows us how often people hear buzzwords. Okay, and just to clarify, these buzzwords, it's like fashionable words, fashionable business words, just to clarify, okay? So the highest number here is a few times a week at 31%, multiple times a day, 23%, once a day, 17%, once a week, 14%, a few times a month, once a month. Okay, so we're going down to... So they are popular, and I'd like to know from you guys, how often do you use it? Do you like using them? Do you like learning about them in English? And do you also think it will make you sound more professional? So what I can gather from this is natives of the United States feel that it does make them feel more professional. And I think it's something that could be useful for you guys to, as I always say, it's really good to know these words. So to recognize them, especially in your business meetings, your online meetings and so on, but also to be able to employ them as well at a certain point. But as I always say, sparingly, which means not too much, because they are kind of infectious. You kind of want to use them quite often, but it can bother people. Who uses buzzwords the most? My colleagues do, according to the survey. Upper management, 31%. My boss, 24%. My employees, 6%. And me, 5%. Well, so most people seem to feel that they use it less, but perhaps they are using them more. Okay, so are buzzwords a red flag in job postings? Okay, so is this something, when you see a job posting, should you be careful? Is it something that is like a red flag, like a warning that sometimes, so buzzwords can be useful in the workplace, but should employers use them in job postings? So when you are advertising for a job, we wanted to better understand the effect that language like this can have on the application process. And we found out that it can indeed make a difference. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be positive, or is it going to be negative? Let's have a look. In all, 7 in 10 said trendy language has influenced their decision to apply, and nearly 1 in 5 have decided against applying because of it. Okay, so this means it has an effect where people see it as kind of negative, perhaps a bit maybe lying. One of the things, for example, that is a red flag for me is when I see the word dynamic. If I see the word dynamic, it I don't know, sometimes it means like, I get this feeling of it's lying, it means hard work, it means less money, overwork. I see it in a negative way if used in a job posting. Any words that you guys see in job postings that you would like to share with us here that you see as red flags or warnings? Which words and phrases served as the biggest red flags? Okay, so this is great. Buzzwords in job. Okay. Are they going to show us? They will, I suppose, as we go down, as we scroll down. So what I'm doing is I'm scrolling down. Buzzwords in job. Has the use of trendy language in a job post ever influenced your decision to apply? Yes, 69%. No, 31%. 1 in 5 have decided not to apply due to this kind of the terms most likely to be red flags. Rock star. Okay. Number 2. So rock star, like you're going to be, probably you need to behave like this. You need to be very outgoing. You need to be very extrovert. Basically, you need to do a lot of work. Wear many hats. Okay, do many jobs. Thick skin. Okay, to have a thick skin is when people, you have strong character and you don't get offended too easily. So if you have thick skin, it means that you're probably thinking, in this sense, as a red flag, I'm going to get a lot of pressure from my boss. Yes, work hard, play hard. That generally would mean just work hard. Schedule TBD. Let me just double check that. 1 second. And we're going to just look in here because I need to be... I always have this coming up. Schedule. How do you say it? Do you say schedule or schedule? Yeah, to be determined. Okay. Used to indicate that the time or place of something has not been decided. Okay. Yes, a red flag. Absolutely. Let me go back here. Oh, there we are. So if your schedule or your schedule, I say schedule in this case, to be determined is this acronym. Basically means we don't have one yet because when you start working, we're just going to make you work a lot of hours, and when we get more staff, then we'll bring you back. So this is a red flag for people. Your schedule, your timetable, working timetable or working hours is to be determined, TBD. So what was this in the NATO alphabet? T for Tango, B for Bravo, D for Delta. Urgently hiring. Red flag. Why do you think that would be a red flag? In my opinion, it's a red flag. It's because a lot of people have probably left the company, or these people are quite fickle. They don't really care. They fire people willy-nilly, which willy-nilly means just easily. And now they need to replace people very quickly. Ninja. Okay, I'm going to have to look this up. What does ninja mean in business terms? Okay, well, there's business terms. Banking finance, abbreviation for no income, no job or assets. A loan such as I need business buzzwords. Okay, see if I can get it here. Ninja often used affectionately to describe someone who specializes and or is very proficient at using a specific program or completing a certain task. She's an Excel ninja. Okay, to be really great at something. Okay. Okay, so it's a kind of like trendy word. Hit the ground running. Okay, this means you are going to be thrown into your work very quickly, and you just have to work hard and a lot from the beginning. So it's a good expression. It's a common expression in English to hit the ground running. It's like if you fall, you don't actually fall over. You just, when you drop to the ground, you start running. It can be used, it's a good expression, but in a job, it's a red flag for people because, as you can imagine, it means you're going to fall into this job and you're going to have to start working hard very quickly. Fast-paced environment. Yes, you can imagine fast-paced environment means very hectic, lots of work, and overachiever. Yeah, you can imagine this is going to be just working more than normal. So all these things in the job posting are red flags for people. I would agree. Yeah, they're kind of all these kind of positive kind of words that if you are maybe desperate, you will go for. But in the English world, I could definitely imagine these words would be red flags. Top of the list was rockstar at 53%. Wearing hats was a red flag for 50% of respondents, perhaps because it can indicate a lack of specialized training and staff that is too small for the workload required. Okay. Just behind that was thick skin, 48%, which may indicate a toxic work environment. Quite right. Work hard, play hard, bothered, 47% of survey participants, and 44% considered schedule TBD a red flag. Applicants want to know what they are getting themselves into. They want to know what their schedule is going to be. They want to have a life. outside of work. On the flip side, words that weren't considered flags, more positive, were proactive and empower, with just 9% of respondents bothered by each. Leverage, which was a red flag for 11%, proven track record, and lots of perks and benefits, each which irritated 12%. Most of the words and phrases that were considered red flags that weren't considered red flags had positive connotations and weren't limited to any specific group. Who can argue with lots of perks and benefits? So perks are extras that you get, like perhaps a company car. In northern countries, in southern countries, you get like food tickets. It's not very common, let's say, in the UK. So that could be a nice perk to have your food paid for. Certain kind of bonuses, but perks are like little extras. Like I said, as a company car, and in the old days, or perhaps a company phone, or paying for things for you. So these are perks. Terms least likely to be red flags. Proactive. I suppose proactive could mean, in a sense, that you are not going to be micromanaged. You will be able to get on with your work. Okay, empower, leverage, lots of perks and benefits, proven track record. Okay, so this is where they are looking for your proven track record is your experience. So you have a proven track record in this area. So if you are in computers, programming, for example, you have worked many years in this area. That is, you can prove that you have a good track record in this area. Resilient. It depends what resilient means for the business or for you. Fun, amazing, unique company culture. Okay, people won't see a good company culture. Sense of humor. Passionate. And competitive salary. Yeah, I suppose so. Any of them for me that would be a red flag? Resilient maybe. Depends how you use it. It means kind of like thick skin in a way, but it could be positive too. Yeah, okay. Let's move on down. The most popular business word in corporate jargon. Next, we surveyed participants about some of the most common buzzwords to find out which they had heard and which ones they hadn't. Okay. So number 1 was win-win. Culture, for example, company culture. ASAP. You can say ASAP, which I'm more used to saying, but you can also say it as a word, ASAP. Think outside the box. Yes, very. It's coming on in age now. Think outside the box, and I think in the English world, this is a bit annoying for a lot of people. You need to use this one very sparingly, and when you mean it. Moving forward, going forward, for the future. Circle back, going back, like come back to something. So yeah, I suppose this one is. I think the thing is it sounds good, you know. When you circle back, we can circle back to this later on in our meeting. We can come back to this. But then, of course, people think it sounds cool, so they use it too much. It's on my radar. It's something I consider doing. On the same page. Are we aligned? Bring to the table. And new normal. New normal came around first, I believe, during the economic crisis of 2008. And a common expression I heard back then was, we are where we are, kind of, or we are living beyond our means. We are spending too much money. The least common buzz phrase was sweep the floors. Only 11% said they were familiar with it. Just 12% had heard or used SMB for small to medium-sized business, while 13% had heard and used ideates. Only slightly more, 14%, had heard or used blue sky thinking, followed by B2C, business to consumer, at 18%. The least used buzzwords: sweep the floors, SMB, ideate, blue sky thinking, B2C, synergy, at the end of the day. That's used quite common. Table this, huddle, holistic approach. Here we go, the most hated ones. 3 words and phrases top the list at 43% each. New normal, often used in relation to unpleasant situation. Culture, which may imply this is how we do things, we don't have to explain ourselves. And circle back. We do we really have to hear this again? The most annoying buzzwords: new normal, culture, circle back, boots on the ground, give 110%, low hanging fruit, win-win, move the needle, growth hacking, think outside the box. Okay, so they can be quite useful. Some of them I would like to look into. The least annoying was at the end of the day, because at the end of the day is just a common expression. Debrief, irritating. Debrief, which annoyed 12%, and sweep the floors, SMB, and table this, each of which bothered just 14%. Let's have a look at sweep the floors. I'm not familiar with that. What does sweep the floors? FLOORS mean, MEAN, and let's have a look. What, to clean something especially for you? No, we don't want that. We mean it in business terms. The person who sweeps the floor chooses the broom. They go out there and do things that serve each other and serve their customers. Right, let's have a look here. Forward-thinking workplaces. The person who sweeps the floors chooses a... Yeah, this is the problem. It takes forever to find this expression, so we'll have to go back. I can't find it. Okay, overused. What does... Okay, I have an idea. What does sweep the floors mean? Because normally sweep the floor is when you had such a victory that you blew the competition away. Here, I think we found it, guys. Cancel that, X that. What does sweep the floor mean? Sweep the floor can be applied to both project owners and buyers. If project owners sweep the floor, it means they buy all the NFTs at their floor price. On the other hand, buyers who sweep the floor purchase either all of the available token or a large... Okay. Okay, this is in relation to NFTs, but we'll have to... I'd like to go back and have a look at that. And small to medium size. Okay, so lots of these words. Let me know, guys. I'd be interested in knowing how you feel about these buzzwords. Are they useful for you? Is it something you like to use when you're working? And but do you just feel a bit maybe that it's a bit difficult in English? I'd like to know your feelings on it. So I'm going to go to the newspaper, see what's been happening. Salman Rushdie there, I'm sure you guys know, was attacked on stage over the weekend. The famous author of the Satanic Verses, which was, I always remember, this was something that was interesting for me. When I was younger, it's the first time I think it would believe for me certainly was the first time I heard of Islamic extremism, because it was when this author, here we can see him, he wrote a book called The Satanic Verses in, I believe it was 1990, was it 1980? No, it was 1998, around that time or something, maybe before. And there was a fatwa issued, which was for Muslim believers that were able to kill him, and I never heard of anything like this. And then I really thought, this guy is not going to last long, to be honest. At some point someone's going to get him. And then over the years, as you guys know, it became more, I think eventually, I thought anyway, that the fatwa, which meant that you can kill him in the name of God, which was issued by a cleric, a religious person from Iran, I thought that it was lifted, but it seems that it wasn't. And then when he was attacked on stage recently in Delaware, I think it was Delaware in the United States, the people from the Iranian Religious Council said they were happy. So anyway, he's without a doubt, obviously a very good author, but he offended a lot of people with his novel. The novelist, who is no longer on life support, has regained the ability to speak, his agent said. His son, Zafar Rushdie, also released a statement citing the relief of the Satanic Verses author's family. I read an article over the weekend that his wife, at the time when he became popular for this, she went into hiding. So to go into hiding is to, it's pretty quite obvious maybe, but if you don't understand, it means to live in secret so nobody can find you. So he has been married 4 times. That was his second wife, I believe, at the time. The road to recovery has begun for Salman Rushdie, who was a victim of a stabbing. As a stabbing is with a knife, in Western New York late last week. But it will be a long time because the injuries are serious, he said in a message to the British daily The Guardian, assaulted on August 12th during a conference in New York State by Hadi Matar, a 24-year-old American of Lebanese origin. The writer received 3 stab wounds in the neck, 4 in the stomach, 1 to the right eye and to the chest, and 1 to the right thigh. Your thigh is the top of your leg. Salman Rushdie remained hospitalized in critical condition on Sunday, but freed from life support. He was able to say a few words and show that his fiery and provocative sense of humor remained intact, according to the statement released by his son Zafar. Rushdie, who nevertheless added that the injuries received will change the life of his father. So this is the statement released. When you show to the public, you release a statement. Following the attack on Friday, my father remains in critical condition in hospital, receiving extensive ongoing medical treatment. We are extremely relieved that yesterday he was taken off the ventilator and additional oxygen, and he was able to say a few words. Though his life-changing injuries are severe, his usual feisty and defiant sense of humour remains intact. We are so grateful to all the audience members who bravely leapt to his defence and administered first aid, along with the police and doctors who have cared for him for the outpouring of love and support from around the world. We ask for continued patience and privacy as the family come together at his bedside to support and help him through this time. So this looks like it was a premeditated assault, according to the prosecutor. Saturday evening, August 13th, Hadi Matar, the alleged attacker, well, it's pretty obvious that he was the attacker, was charged with attempted murder and assault before a court in Chautauqua, where the facts took place. He pleaded not guilty to these charges by the voice of his court-appointed lawyer during an appearance during which the court refused his release on bail. When you are released on bail, it means you pay money to the court to be able to go free until you have your next court appearance. The district attorney, Jason Schmidt, told the judge the assault was premeditated as Hadi Matar obtained a pass to the event in advance by appearing under a false identity where Salman Rushdie was to speak. This was a targeted, unprovoked and premeditated attack on Mr. Rushdie, the prosecutor said. Yeah, I would imagine it's premeditated if he did organize with a false ID. The motive for the attack does not seem clear, says The Guardian. The suspect was born 10 years after the publication of the Satanic Verses and the fatwa issued against the author by Ayatollah Khomeini. His lawyer, Mr. Baron, indicated after the hearing that Hadi Matar was discussing with him and that he was going to seek to know more about his client, in particular on possible psychological problems or addiction to substances. So that is the attack that kind of shocked the world. I think everybody was a bit shocked. I thought, like I said, I thought that this was never going to happen and that the fatwa had been lifted. Sometimes I feel from my experience of living in different countries, you can tell me what your experience is, perhaps as someone who has grown up as the child of immigrant parents. But I felt that, for example, when I was in the UK and in France and in Germany, that often the third generation, like the grandchildren, often, they were looking for an identity. Let's say, for example, in Germany, you have people from Turkey. In France, you have people from the Maghreb, which would be Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and often perhaps didn't feel French, for example, and they were seeking an identity more akin to their grandparents. My opinion is the grandparents come over and are more open-minded. They're looking for a new opportunity. They're very comfortable in their own culture. The children as well try to escape their parents' culture. And then in the third generation, I feel that the grandchildren try to find the culture again. And often this can be through the religion, and they become a bit extreme sometimes, or a bit lost, because when I've gone to live in a country such as Turkey, I find people a lot more relaxed, a lot more comfortable. The religion is all around. It's not something they need to talk about for their identity. Anyway, I'm ranting here, but it is something I believe could have happened with this young man, if he's only 24. He's far away from Lebanon. He's in the United States. He probably grew up there and probably sees his culture as a Lebanese Muslim culture. But I'm open to debate on that one. You guys let me know what you think. While you were sleeping, let's see what happened while we were sleeping indeed. Over the course of the night. And then we can see what Russia and North Korea will expand their ties. Russian President Vladimir Putin has written to North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, suggesting the two countries forge closer ties. When you forge something, as you generally think of it with metal, so you forge it together, comes together. Citing reports from the official North news agency, Korean KCNA, this letter was delivered to Pyongyang on the day of the liberation of North Korea, notes the British channel. In a response letter also relayed by KCNA, Kim Jong-un said that since World War II, strategic and tactical cooperation, support and solidarity between the two countries had reached a new level. In Kenya, close duel for the presidency. Presidential race in Kenya. Let's quickly look. I like to look at this on the maps. Get rid of this and go into this. So we're going to look on the map because I do like to see where... Because in my mind, I know where Kenya is. But then I look at the maps and then I realize I hadn't got a clue. So it is East Africa as far as I'm aware. Yes. East Africa. Bordered to the west by Uganda, to the south by Tanzania, and to the east by Somalia, and to the north by Ethiopia, where they are having problems up around the north, I believe, in this civil war. I'd like to know what the situation there is. So, Kenya, capital Nairobi, presidential race, what's happening there? The country is holding its breath as it waits for the election commission to announce the fifth president. The Standard wrote on Sunday. In the morning, according to the count of Electoral Commission covering almost half the polling station, Vice President William Ruto led neck and neck with 51.25% of the vote against 48.09 or 0.09% for Raila Odinga. And according to the newspaper, the 4 presidential candidates told their supporters to be patient as they appeared separately in public for the first time since the August 9th poll. And then here we go. In Mexico, a sudden rise in water level in the flooded mine where 10 people are trapped out there. A sudden water level rise has occurred at a flooded mine where 10 people are trapped in northern Mexico. So flood is when water gets very high. And on Saturday, the water level reached 20 meters. Reports El Universal, citing the governor of the state of Coahuila, Miguel Riquelme, the rescue of the miners is getting complicated, in the words of the newspaper, but the operation continues, assured the governor. So do we know exactly where this is? Coahuila. Let's have a look. Coahuila in Juarez. So it's in the north of Mexico, near to so it's a state. It's a state which borders Texas in the United States. Coahuila. Okay. As a place I would really love to visit is Mexico. I think in the English world, it gets a lot of bad press because of this area up here, Ciudad Juarez, and drugs, cartels, and so on. But it's a very big country. And then the other day, I read an article about Mexico City being very attractive for digital nomads now from the United States, where they are actually causing a problem in the city because making life too expensive in some of the neighborhoods. But definitely a very, very interesting place. I haven't been there yet. Would love to go. I think the first place I ever heard of was Cancun over here as a holiday destination. Still very popular. When I was younger, I would hear people talk about Cancun. Okay, so that's Mexico. And I think in the mind of English-speaking people, South America starts here at Mexico. Technically, it's wrong, of course, because Mexico and all of these... Mexico is in North America. And then you have Guatemala and these countries here, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. They're all in Central America. But I think when people, the average person on the public bus talks, if you're from a Spanish-speaking country, mentally they think South America. The United States, as I mentioned before, is either referred to as the United States or just America. And Canada and other countries are referred to by their name. So Canada, America, and South America. A lot of people think it's very ignorant. And of course it is ignorant. But then when I went to Turkey, everybody in Turkey over here just referred to this whole place as Europe. It was the idea that was Europe was the entity, and we were all very similar people, pretty much the same ideas, the same mentality, which couldn't be further from the truth, because most of these countries we don't speak the same language, certainly don't share the same culture, and as I said before, it's the old continent. So it is common around the world. Perhaps in South America, people refer to Europe as Europe and think that we think the same, and we obviously do the same about Africa. But once you have a taste of one of these countries or two of the countries, you then realize these countries have nothing in common, are very unique. So don't get angry that people call this America. They will call your unless they're educated or you can educate them, generally will call your country by its name, and America is what we mean for the United States. Perhaps this will change in time. Okay, getting back. I want to see what the most read is. The tragic end of Kenya's most notorious cheetah gang. Mexico, gang violence in the cartels. Games lacrosse, a booming native sport, and soon at the Olympics, United States. Okay, I'm going to look at this game. Lacrosse. This is a game that is played in the United States and Canada. For indigenous lacrosse, a booming, so it's very popular at the moment. So enjoying success, popularity, booming. When something is booming, your economy may be booming. Native American sport, and soon at the Olympics. I never knew it was a Native American sport. For indigenous people in the United States and Canada, lacrosse is very much more than a sport. It is a means of asserting their national identity and sovereignty. Very successful, their team hopes to appear at the Los Angeles Olympic Games in 2028, where the discipline could make a comeback. I thought, like rugby, that lacrosse was played only by privileged people. And I mean privileged as in upper class, middle class. Birmingham, Alabama, July 2022. Brendan Mummery's voice grows louder and faster as he attempts to galvanize his teammates with a swear-laden speech. So how would that sound? So when you try to galvanize your teammates, you go, come on guys, let's go. And so if you're in the office and you have one of these team meetings, to galvanize is to bring people together, and swear-laden would be saying bad words. So we can do this, we can effing win, we can, saying bad words to motivate. Tell me about your country. Are swear words used in the office? Are swear words considered taboo in the office? I think it's not so rare to hear it in English-speaking countries, and but certainly in other countries it may be. Let me know. I've got a lot of names here now that I'm going to be very problematic for me. Okay, so I'm going to give it a go. The Haudenosaunee men's national lacrosse team, which represents the Six Nations of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Cayuga, Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Seneca, and Tuscarora, will take to the field. Birmingham is hosting the World Games this year, an Olympics-inspired event which brings together mostly non-Olympic disciplines. Right. The meeting does not really have a stake because the team no longer has a chance of winning a medal. But every game and every moment spent wearing the Haudenosaunee jersey still carries a tremendous significance, as Brendan Mummery reminds his teammates. Sports may not have a political significance, but for our people it does, he insists, punctuating his sentence with swear words. Okay, well, what I need to do, I think, is I need to show you guys what this sport is, because if you don't know what lacrosse is, then you are... So let's put in lacrosse highlights. And we'll have a look at this game.
So leadership has to take on a different definition, a different life form if you're Johns Hopkins.
What a shake by Javon Johnson, the freshman. He had 2 on Saturday, and he's got 1 today. Kevin Connery said with the ball in his stick, he is always going 100 miles an hour.
Often to give them more time, right? You gladly okay with this?
Oh, what a sweet shot! Maybe the goal of the year by Lucas Buckley.
Great finish by Buckley right there. The patented backhand.
I will watch. We'll watch one more. This is basically
Rutgers trying to bring it out. Intercepted. Beautiful play.
Oh, what a save!
And Edelman makes the save.
Bobby thought they had an open net. All of a sudden, who's there? Max is there.
Bernhardt with the ball. Borges on D.
Bernhardt space down the alley. Bernhardt walks in to win it.
So that is lacrosse. As I said, I played just in the States and Canada, not really well known outside. And I thought it was considered more like a privileged sport. If, like I said, rugby is considered a privileged sport. A lot, mainly private schools play rugby. And so that is lacrosse. Okay, so this is a team that it means a lot to. I suppose the idea is that this sport comes originally from the indigenous teams. But here it goes. So lacrosse is booming around the world, but in recent years, players have felt that their discipline is often associated with a caricature. Yes, here we go. A caricature of white elite living in affluent residential suburbs. Exactly what I was just saying. The Haudenosaunee, who helped invent lacrosse and consider it a sacred sport with therapeutic virtues, now want to reclaim the soul of lacrosse. Okay, pioneering teams. The Iroquois men's team, as it was known until recently, had been recognized by the International Lacrosse Federation since 1988. The women's team was certified in 2008. Even today, these two teams are the only ones to represent indigenous peoples in international competitions, all disciplines combined. Okay. There is also does seem to be a trend I notice in the United States of people in the United States do seem to be very conscious and also search. When I talked about this young man earlier who allegedly attempted to murder Salman Rushdie, looking for an identity. A lot of people in the United States seem to look for an identity, claiming they are Italian, claiming they are Irish, claiming they are... seems to be trying to claim that they are from Europe, and a trend and we generally see them as Americans or from the United States. We don't really... it's very difficult to take someone seriously as saying I'm Irish when they have a very thick American accent from the South, for example, or New York or Boston, and have never visited the country. And then now it seems to be very trendy or popular to say that you have indigenous Native American blood at some point in your genealogy. I've noticed this trend happening. It seems to be, and there was a because it also can have people are now using it for political gain, because you can, if you belong and say you belong to this or a certain indigenous group, you can get certain rights, and it's being used politically now as well. And a famous politician there not long ago said and did something claiming that she was it was something on an application form, or saying that she was indigenous, when in reality it's very obvious the woman is just a white Caucasian. It's very trendy at the moment, and it's I have noticed that the indigenous nations are becoming more politicized, and it's good for them. Okay, let's go back. That is the third most popular one. And the most read, obviously. Let's have a look. The tragic end of Kenya's most notorious cheetah gang. The Super 5 surveyed the most famous Kenyan Masai Mara reserve for 5 years, said the Daily Nation. Okay, so cheetahs in the Old Pajeta Reserve in Nanyuki, Kenya. Oh, we need to go find where this is, don't we? On our maps. Let's get rid of that. Need to get used to this expression, to get rid of something. Okay. Maps. I say it all the time. And we are looking for the Maybe I can do a if I can find the name of that park again. Can any of you see it? Up here. Nanyuki. 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 Kenya. So there is a national park. Have any of you guys gone on a safari? Not for me, thanks very much. I see some of these safari things and I think it's no, not for me. Not for me. I would be the one in one of those jeeps that just it breaks down and then the lions decide that they want to get to know me better. So no, thank you very much. I definitely am not interested in doing a safari. I'm not one of these people who is saying you shouldn't do safaris, the poor animals. Not that I just don't want to die, thanks very much, by the mouth of a hippo or a lion or whichever animal it may be. No, thank you. Definitely would love to visit Kenya at some point. It could be very interesting. I have it on my to-do list. Okay. So what is this most popular? Their hunting tactics have thrilled big cat enthusiasts for 5 years in the mythical reserve of the Masai Mara. You guys do know what the Masai look like, I hope. If you don't, let's have a quick Masai Mara and maybe see some of these. These are the traditional people. Probably these guys, and they jump quite high and stuff, very popular. I think a lot of people want to just see these guys as well. I wonder if they've been corrupted as well in the sense of by tourism. Going back, Tanobora, the Super 5, a band of cheetahs capable of attacking prey 10 times larger than them, enthuses the nation. Their epic ended sadly on July 31st when the Kenyan Daily says which page? Most cheetahs feast on small prey like antelopes and gazelles, but the Tanobora use their numbers and skills would take down big game like zebra, wildebeest, and topi, a species of antelope. Made up of 5 males from 2 siblings, the troop was distinguished by its unusual hunting technique, deploying a high degree of coordination. Okay, so let's see if we... what were they called? Tanobora. Let's see if we can have a look. Let's see if we can have a look at their hunting skills. Tanobora. The Fast 5. Let's have a look. Okay, and I just have to give a shout out to Roy Galit's Wildlife Photography. If this and the yes, Roy Galit, just to because I have played the video, so make sure that I mention this. So what I could see earlier also was that there is a documentary that you can check out, maybe half an hour, by Rob the Ranger, of the 5 cheetahs of the Masai Mara. Okay, we didn't see too much there, but it got a bit gruesome, a bit gory at the end. But we all love the wildlife videos. Definitely want to check that out. First spotted in 2015, the gang had become celebrity among tourists and conservation professionals, The Nation reported in a January article. However, their story took a tragic turn in January 2021 when their leader, nicknamed Orpadan, and the sniper in the Maasai dialect, was expelled and then killed by his former allies. It is assumed that he paid the price for breaking the territorial code of his gang by wandering off in search of females. Yeah, it's excellent when you see this in documentaries, how these things happen and how they explain them to you. Fantastic. And I would say the most famous narrator person who talks over the documentary in English is David Attenborough. So anything by him on the BBC is excellent. He's a famous narrator, but I do love the wildlife documentaries. A month after the fatal attack on Orpadan in February 2021, a second member of the team, baptized Olarishani, suffered the same fate. The same thing happened, went looking for females, and then he was killed for breaking the norms of the group. Finally, on July 30th, the carcass of a third member of the band, probably killed by a lion, was found. With only 2 survivors of the Tanobora left, the Nation believes that the latest disappearance could mark the end of the largest, most beloved and most sought-after cheetah coalition in history. So, that's number 1 in the... and let's see, cartels, Mexico. Okay, I'll quickly go in to see what's happening in the economy. Will there be gas this winter in Europe? Hopefully. Depending on what country and how much dependency you have on Russian oil. Paul, in Shanghai, robots are in the kitchen. Let's have a look. The number of the day, Turkey, Trojan horse of sanctions against Russia. Okay. In Shanghai, robots are in the kitchen. What's going on here? At AI Canteen, food is cooked by robots. The founders of the place see it as a way of coping with the shortage of labor. In China, there's a shortage of labor. I doubt it. A robot in the kitchen of the restaurant in the media reception center of the occasional term. Now, I think I watched something, if this is from... Well, let's have a quick read and then we can have a look at the video for a short amount of time if YouTube lets me. This is the restaurant everyone is talking about in Shanghai. The AI Canteen, or Artificial Intelligence Canteen, welcomes local workers and curious onlookers. Onlookers are people just looking from the side every lunchtime. A collective catering service like any other, one might think from the outside. Only here, no human beings, only robots from the kitchen to the service, says Japanese magazine Nikkei Asia. Let's have a look at what they do.
Early in the morning, the Hongqiao Community Canteen fills with hungry diners. One menu favorite is noodles made by a robot. When an empty bowl is put on a plate, the robot starts cooking. Soup is added after the noodles are placed in the bowl. It takes less than 2 minutes. People can then choose toppings and pay for it by putting the plate under a camera, which scans the food and shows the price.
Children loved seeing a yellow robot cooking noodles. I also brought my father here, and he also enjoyed the noodles as they're well cooked. It's important to serve something that the elderly can chew easily.
I think the food here is better because it is clean. I can choose what I like and it tastes okay.
The canteen offers about 20 options for breakfast, with prices ranging from 2 to 4 yuan. Steamed, fried, or baked, all food is prepared by the unmanned cooking system. Li Ming, CEO of the company, said the system reduces labor by about 50 to 80%. For the canteen that is 130 square meters, only 2 staff are needed. It's also designed to be user-friendly, especially seniors.
在整个过程中，我们是不需要办。
People don't need to register for a membership or use a smartphone. Seniors can pay with their senior card. Our recipes are also designed for the elderly, including those with diabetes and high blood pressure.
The AI system also monitors the supply and demand of each dish and will command the robots to prepare more if certain dishes are popular. The canteen has seen more than 200 people each day since opening on a trial basis last month. The canteen is part of Hongqiao community's effort to cater to retired folks, as there are about 19,000 residents over 60 years old, accounting for around 38% of the neighborhood's population. The community now has at least 5 canteens for seniors. Zhang Hong, Shanghai Live.
Okay, then you get the idea of what that's about. The ShanghaiEye.com China. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be AI doing our food in the future? I certainly think so. A lot of people will have the depends on what country you're from, but this idea of I want a human to make my food, but I think a lot of people really don't care. It's like when you go to a supermarket and you have the self checkout. We see this more and more and more, the self checkout, and a lot of people perhaps don't want human interaction. They want to be more private. They don't want to have to deal with someone. So the quality seems to be there. I can't tell you if it's a person or a robot that did that, said a client. Even a client is surprised. Even the prices on offer aren't excessive, averaging $4 for a meal. The restaurant, which opened in the mall, which is like a super mall, like a shopping center or shopping mall, on July 19th, is run by Chinese startup Shanghai Yishang e-commerce. Its founders want to demonstrate that kitchen robots and artificial intelligence can help solve the shortage of labor in the restaurant industry. So basically, I imagine the shortage, which means a lack or that there aren't the numbers, the shortage is because of hit the ground running, all these dynamic words which mean work hard. Or be overworked. Also, it's kind of, if there were one near me here, I'd want to go and just see it, and then gradually, I imagine they become more and more common. In this canteen, artificial intelligence programs analyze the average crowd and decide which dishes to offer based on expected demand. AI also steps in the kitchen, making sure the right foods are used in the right dishes. For example, if the wrong vegetable gets into a recipe, the system reports the error. Artificial intelligence algorithms manage the food's preparation process throughout the kitchen, instead of having it done by a chef, said Li Ming, a co-founder and CEO of Yishang e-commerce. Our company uses robots to standardize food preparation and provide customers with fresh and healthy meals. This is our main objective. Price reductions come next. Right now, we only have 2 to 3 humans who are responsible for designing the menus. A recipe that works, and the company, which already manages 2 establishments, plan to open a 3rd during the month of August. Catering is a juicy market in China, recalls Nikkei Asia or Asia. The sector, which is slowly recovering from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, should represent nearly $767 billion in 2023. It's coming. AI is coming. Absolutely. Well, it's already here. And it's slowly creeping in. But a lot of people, when you ask, are a bit against it. But it's already here. We're already paying. You can already pay with your phone. Your car. A lot of people think the electric cars are self-driving cars that we talked about the other day from Tesla. Well, your car already, even if it's not a Tesla, already has cruise control, technology on the mirror to let you know if somebody is coming up beside you. So we say it's creeping in. AI creep, you could call it. A hero in Lebanon, a hostage taking symbol. Evils, okay. So some people, okay. Shortage, panic in Spain. Ice cubes are missing. Brazilian elections. Addicted to German, okay. Okay. Well, we're going to look at more of this tomorrow anyway. So that was it from me today. Very happy to be with you guys, and I've just realized that I've left the camera on very big for the whole thing. But anyway, I hope you were listening, and I need to check. I need to always double check these things so I can bring my camera down over to this side so you can read the article. I hope you were listening anyway, and I appreciate it. If it's useful for you, do let me know, and I suppose I should keep something aware as well so I can see the comments and see that my face has been covering the camera the whole time, covering the screen. Okay guys, have a great day. I'll be back with you